Mrs. Chick. Ms. Galanter, would you please come to the council chamber? We have 9 members present. We need 1 for a quorum. Mrs. Chick, Ms. Galanter. Call the roll.
Alatorre, Burnson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley Thomas, Warren, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, the council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 23rd day of February 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. First order of business.
Approval of the minute.
All right, Ms. Miskowski moved, Mr. Ridley Thomas second. If there's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
On the regular agenda, there's been a request to continue item number 25 until Friday, February 26th.
Is there any objection to continuing 25 until Friday? Seeing none, that will be the order.
On item 25, shouldn't we refer that just to the ad hoc committee?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's refer that to the ad hoc committee.
This is the report on consolidation.
Okay. Next item.
Item number 27, a request by Councilmember Savornich to continue until Wednesday, February 24th.
Is there any objection to continuing that? Seeing none, that will be the order. Next item.
Items number 1 through 3, items noticed for public hearing.
We have no cards. Anybody in the audience want to be heard on 1, 2, or 3? Seeing none, the public hearing will be continued until March 12th. On all 3 of those, there are no objections. That will be the order. Next item.
Items number 4 through 20, items for which public hearings have been held.
14 and 18 special. Any other specials? Any other specials? Huh?
15
15 is called special.
and 12, Mr. President.
And 12. Any others? If not, prepare the roll on 4 through 20 with the exception of 12, 14, 15, and 18. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 19 and 20. The item number 4 will hold on the desk. It's an ordinance, and I think we are expecting 12. So if there's no objections. Okay, the next item.
Items number 21 through 28, with the exceptions of 25 and 27, which have already been acted on.
All right, 21 through 28, we have somebody who wants to be heard on 24 and 29. Anybody want to be heard on any of the other items other than 24 and 29? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Are there any specials by council members? If not, prepare the roll on 21 through 29 with the exception of 24 and 29. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Item number 29, public hearing, has been held on the table. Item number 12, called special.
Mr. Hernandez, you call 12 special?
Yes, Mr. President, I wanted to move item 12, but I wanted to amend it to include, once we get a response from the EDA of the grant has been approved, that it go back to the CED committee.
What is your motion?
To amend the report to include, once the approval of the EDA grant is received by the city, that it go back to committee.
All right. You heard that motion. Ms. Goldberg?
Yeah, that would be good, because I was wondering about the source of the matching funds, and we can discuss that at that time. So I'll reserve my questions if it's going back to committee after it's received. Thank you.
We have 12 as amended, and we will refer it to committee, or you want to approve it?
Pretty much.
Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah, pretty much.
Approve it as amended. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Who is that? Next item.
Item number 14, called special.
Mr. Burnson, you call 14 special?
Yes, I did, and item 14 calls for the exploration of charging a surcharge on telephone usage by seeking enabling legislation at state level. And I just want to let you know that I am opposed to this. I will not support it. I don't think we should be involved in this. And this is, and I have even some questions about whether this can be legally done without a vote of the people. So I would urge that we not get involved in this, and we not ask. I've been told that we're asking the LAPD to review all the options and come back with us, you know, with a program for cost and so forth. But I cannot support this, and I would urge the council not to do this, because what you're proposing is a new tax on an emergency call. A surcharge on somebody that has to make an emergency call for help. And I'm going to vote no on it, and I would urge, I don't know, but I'm going to move receive and file on this.
Could we hear from Mr. Clark?
Mr. Wax?
Well, whether or not we have the authority to do it, I don't think we should do it. I mean, I don't, I agree with Hal, and I mean, I don't really, I don't oppose the idea that the state give local governments throughout throughout the state the right to do so if and when they feel it's necessary. But I've got to say, in terms of Los Angeles, I couldn't possibly support an imposition of a surcharge now for our system, and that's mainly because, and maybe Mr. Karshu can help me out, but it's my recollection that a number of years ago, the voters voted a substantial amount of money to upgrade our 911 system, and it hasn't been done. The money hasn't been spent on that. The system hasn't been upgraded, and now you want a surcharge to help pay for the crummy system we have. I mean, something is wrong with that. I mean, I don't quite understand the logic behind this. In fact, I actually do. It's what governments always do when they're not getting the job done. They just keep getting some more money to keep going. And I just think we ought to be concentrating on doing what we promised to do and what I understood that the money was approved for, rather than now coming up with yet additional money to keep on subsidizing a system that's faltering. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think this is just supporting the bill. It's not imposing any fees, is it, right now?
Yeah, but, you know, this is one of those, as night follows day. Could you...
I think there needs to be a little bit of explanation. We've been, you're very right, the voters voted in $235 million.
And when was that?
That was in 1992, to replace the...
7 years ago, $235 million
Yes, right.
in
To
money
replace-
then.
Yes,
which is
to
about-
replace the existing...
Arena, Joe.
to replace the existing system. And what you have to understand, that was for capital outlay, that was really for replacement. Now, and it has been spent. Most of the money has been committed. We've replaced 8,000 radios. Our mobile data terminal system was fielded this week.
But we don't
We're
have the
starting
basic
to-
new system we were going
Well,
to have.
a lot of it has been done. And one of the things that we're asking for now, the state 911 tax goes to fund the telephone component, that is from the caller to the public safety answer point, which is the dispatch center. What it does not fund, and if you would, and that's one of the reasons we want to have this study and really look at some alternatives. What it does not fund is anything behind that. Does not fund radios, does not fund consoles, does not fund mobile data terminals, no infrastructure like that. So it's been up to the city for many, many years to have to provide that aspect of it. And what we're asking for is to look at some source of funding, whether it be some kind of a state tax, an enhancement to the existing tax that we already have, or some kind of a sinking fund, so we don't have to be put in a situation of going out for big bond measures, because the city has a hard time, you know, in personnel to manage these.
But in this one, we already went out for the bond measure, and it was approved. That's the problem.
Now, well, the problem is now we're asking for money for replacement. You field radios.
Replacement of what? We
right,
don't
you
even have
field-
the new system yet. How are we going to replace it?
We do have 8,000 radios, and those radios have been in since 1993, and now we're
But
asking
that's
for
only
funding.
a portion of the
Mr.
total
Wax,
system that was approved.
Let her
That
finish,
is
because
correct.
your time is up, and if you want to, you can press your button.
Well,
But
then
go ahead and
I-
answer your question. Make
I
your
think
statement.
one of the issues is it's going to be up to the city council and the city to do ongoing replacement and maintenance of this system. And I think what we're asking for, and this is not just for the police department, this is also for the fire department. When we talk about 911 and what is not funded, it's not just for the
Okay, I
police
get it, but
department.
you're missing the point
Mrs.
Mr. Burns
Chick.
and I are both trying to make.
Questions asked, and it will affect
Yeah,
whether I
I-
ask them again.
Well, we wanted to hear them. Go ahead, Mr. Karsh.
We raised several of these concerns in the Intergovernmental Relations Committee with our report to the committee, and it is this committee's recommendations before us, and that is that we are not seeking to sponsor legislation at this time. There are too many unanswered questions. We've already fielded the idea to some consultants in Sacramento. We need to have better firm data before we go any further. And that's why we have made the recommendation, why the committee has this recommendation before you, is to direct the police department, ITA, CAO, and CLA to meet and to come up with some better data before we go further. That means we would come back to council before we would get your authorization to seek any kind of legislative solution in Sacramento.
Then I would, because I certainly know that we have going forward into the future, and something that government is rarely good at is looking forward into the future and anticipating needs, that we are going to have to, in an ongoing, continuing way, make improvements to our 911 technology. I'm not going to comment on what some of my colleagues have already focused on, and that is the progress that's been made and whether the money's being spent well, et cetera. What I am very in agreement on is the discomfort of doing anything to move to explore putting a surcharge on people's phone bill. What I would suggest, however, because I think that it is an important thing to do, to explore what is the problem, what is the need, and what are ways to meet it, that perhaps we could all be comfortable voting on some of this going forward if we directed the LAPD to review all options and end the sentence with review options for a reliable revenue source to support local improvements to the 911 emergency telephone system, period. Don't mention anything about surcharge on telephone and seeking legislation. And let's get that report. And certainly there's at least one or two committees that would like to hear that report. And I would so move that to amend the IGR report to end the recommendation at the word system and leave out the discussion of surcharge on the telephone and see what information the report comes back with. And I would ask for a second on that motion.
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of the council, maybe I'm the only one who rises to bring a different perspective to this whole debate. And I wanted us to understand that if I'm in Sacramento and I dial 911, or I'm in Bakersfield and I dial 911, or I'm in San Diego and I dial 911, or if I'm in Ventura and I dial 911, I get the same emergency response system. I get an emergency response system. That's what that number's about. Statewide, is that correct?
What you get is you get delivery of the call to a dispatch center.
Right.
That's
And
what you get.
it's a statewide system. It's not just a local system.
No, it is funding for individual systems. They're all individual.
Right, no, but I understand that. I'm trying to get my point, is the 911 system is a statewide system.
It's a statewide program to support individual
Right.
PSAPs.
And when it was established through a surcharge mechanism, statewide, on people's phone bills.
Correct.
I just want everybody to understand that that's how we got it in the first place, through a statewide mechanism. Now, what's happened since then is the local authorities have the obligation of maintaining that system. And quite frankly, it's not happening in a very uniform manner. Because a lot of us feel good about stopping taxes, stopping surcharges, and so forth. But I need you to understand that when the phone company puts a surcharge on your bill, whether it be for directory assistance services, or it be the elimination of local payment agencies and so forth, we're not having the same debate. But we are having this debate regarding a statewide surcharge on phone service that would allow for local municipalities to upgrade their 911 systems and hopefully demand that they all be at an equal level. Now, I just wanted us to kind of understand the mechanism that we're talking about here, because this is an opportunity for us to look at not just Los Angeles as a city, but Los Angeles as a county and as part of a state. And that's how the system was put in place in the first place. And what's happening right now is we're depending on local initiatives to determine the upgrading of those systems. And so I just wanted to kind of throw it out so that we could all put it in perspective, because this is an opportunity for us to be dealing with a system that's really a statewide system. And at all levels of the state, we should be looking for the same kinds of a system that can respond to the needs of those of us who need it. And so I just wanted to urge us not to just act hastily in amending it because we're looking at a surcharge.
Mr. Burnson?
Well, I understand the importance of the system, and I understand the shortcomings of the system. What I don't like is the approach of seeking legislation to add a surcharge. That's what I'm opposed to. I have no opposition to finding ways of improving and funding the system. But when you wave the red flag and say that you're going to put a surcharge on people who are in trouble, that bothers me. I cannot support that. Now, did your motion, Laura, did that eliminate?
But I don't think we're doing
No,
that.
excuse me, let me just ask a question. She made a motion. Are we eliminating the language from there that says that we're supporting legislation on a surcharge?
Yeah.
It excludes that language. It does not exclude LAPD from looking at it, but it is
Looking
not
at
what we're voting on.
What is LAPD going to be looking at?
LAPD is going to look at all possible revenue sources to fund ongoing improvements of 911.
Excluding a surcharge.
I didn't say that.
Well,
I just excluded the language.
okay, as long as the language is excluded, and we're going to look at means of improving the system and finding the funding, other than a surcharge, then I have no problem with it. But if we're talking about supporting, even Joel, I even go further than you, Joel. Joel, listen to me, Joel. Joel, you know, the problem is, we as a city, that's fine that we would not adopt it as a city, but we should not encourage the state to make it available for other cities to do that. I'm opposed to that globally. We should never put people who are in jeopardy at a disadvantage. Many of these people are going to be elderly and have other problems because of the very fact that they need emergency services, and I think it's really very objectionable to even suggest something like this.
So you want to put excluding a surcharge?
Mr. Ridley Thomas. Ms. Goldberg.
I'm not sure, but I thought the surcharge was just on the phone bill in general, not on 911 calls.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so the surcharge is not on 911 calls. It's like, don't you notice at the bottom of your phone bill, there's 3 cents for this and 2 cents for that? It's a few cents per customer per month, but it yields a lot of money, and it's on the phone bill. Well, no, every local area that it would give, as I understand it, now correct me if I'm wrong, it would give each local area the right to do this, but would not mandate that they do this. That's why I'm going to support it, because I think it's something that there are parts of the Los Angeles County and Orange County, and frankly every other county, that will probably, in order to do their share of this, need to put that surcharge on. I think I agree with Mr. Wax. The City of Los Angeles should not be one of them. We've already raised that money, and if we spent it other ways, we should find it from within our own system. But to not support this legislation means that other areas that have not done that could not put a few cents per bill on to pay for their share of 911 costs, and a lot of them would need to do that. So I don't have any problem supporting this. It's not a surcharge on 911 calls, it's a surcharge on the bottom of the phone bill where they put a few cents for this or that. No, on just the jurisdiction, yeah, everybody whose jurisdiction votes for it. And it would only allow them to do it, it would not mandate to do it. If it would mandate them to do it, then I'm not in favor of it either, but this is permissive, is that correct?
I think there might be just a little bit of confusion.
Okay.
One of the things that the surcharge today, the piece that you see on the phone bill, goes for just a portion of what we consider to be costs for 911 system. And the state manages that and gives it to the cities to cover that certain portion of the call from the time, from the telephone call to the dispatch center. What we're asking for is we would like to enhance that a little bit. Perhaps add more to the surcharge, look for other ways of funding to also fund dispatch centers.
I understand that. That's not what I'm asking. I understand what you want. You'll have to make that case if this legislation passes, not today. What we need to make the case for today is that jurisdictions need to have the choice to do this, and that it's not a surcharge on 911 calls, but a few cents surcharge on every phone bill in jurisdictions that, if this legislation passed, took advantage of it. Correct? Did I restate that correctly?
Well, the recommendation of the committee before council is to...
Did I state it correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the recommendation of the committee, you can tell me that too, but I want to know if I stated it correctly first.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what's the recommendation?
To direct police, ITA, CAO, and CLA to review all possible reliable revenue sources to support local improvements to the 911 system.
Okay, but that... Okay, well,
All
I'll
right,
support
Mr. Holden will explain it all to us. He's the chair of this
support
committee.
that too.
And it says that we should seek enabling legislation to circumvent Proposition 202, let's put it this way, to acquire the funds that's needed, notwithstanding the fact that Proposition 218 became law. I think that our legislative advocates in Sacramento are well aware of the fact that it's going to be very difficult with opposition from the telephone company, Utilities Commission, and others to get this enabling legislation passed, even no matter how desperately we need it. It's not easy. And if we are divided here, then certainly on this issue, certainly will not happen. I think that I raised the same questions that you raised and held this in committee for a long period of time. In fact, it was first raised and voted on by the committee before I became chair in 1997, to study as to what the needs are. I raised the question about the bond measure that was approved and why was the money used for that purpose, et cetera. This has already been brought to the attention of the police department and the commission as well. They say they need it. They claim they need it. Then show us what they need and what other sources of revenue that they could share with us that we could support. And what this legislation is asking for is that you're still going to have to go to Sacramento unless you put this measure on the ballot and in the matter of a form of a bond measure. Now, I would just say go forward with what Ms. Chick has already recommended. Give us a timetable when you report back to the council or committee, maybe 60 days. Would you need more than 60 days, ma'am, to do this?
60 to 120, maybe.
60 days. And then we're still within this 2-year legislative period where if enabling legislation is needed, then we can act at that time. But I think that rather than stall it in place, now let's go forward with the amendment and do it.
Mr. Alatorre.
Mr. President, members, you know, I don't know how we ever expect to fund anything unless you can find creative ways of trying to get projects like the 911 system operational. You know, the reason why we are so far behind, not just because of the time it's taken and the time it took to deal with the contractual obligations and everything else, but the reason why we are so far behind is that we never had the money to be able to come up with the financing of it until we put it on the ballot. All of us know the electronic industry, and what is state-of-the-art today, 6 months from now, is not state-of-the-art. But the fact of the matter is that we still need to keep current and have the best system possible. I don't think all you have to do is call 911, try and get it, and you'll find out why we need to do something to modernize it and to bring it up to state-of-the-art. Now, all that this measure does is provide a vehicle. It doesn't mandate any entity to take advantage of it, but ultimately it is decided by the city of Los Angeles if we wanted to exercise our right to implement the surcharge or not. You're right. It is, you could say that it is a tax. I would say that it is a vehicle to be able to modernize our system. The $271 million or whatever else that we passed probably has, if it hasn't been expended, it'll be expended, and when we implement it, it'll be outmoded. And consequently, we're going to need to continue to improve upon it, but then it gets down to where we get the money. Now, can we get it from the general fund? I say to you that you're not going to be able to get it from the general fund because the general fund has limitations. So all that this measure does is provide by supporting it the way that it came out of committee, all it says is that we're going to go along with other entities in saying that this should be allowed as a vehicle to do the modernization of 911. That's all. doesn't mandate you to do anything. I don't like the idea of a surcharge, but you know what? I don't, where else are we going to get the money? We're asking for basically the same thing. Even if you take out the surcharge, you're asking the police department, ITA, to come up with creative ways. Well, I think you're going to find out, because we've gone that road before, that it's going to be limited. So I would ask for an aye vote as it came out of committee and move forward.
Ms. Galanter?
I need a little clarification here. Mr. Karsh, when you were running through the summary of what the committee recommendation was, I didn't hear, and so this is what I want to know. Does the committee recommendation include a position on the legislation? It sounded to me as if it did not.
No.
All right. So is there any reason we have to take a position on this legislation? If some other city wants to be able to impose a surcharge, they can take. Well, all right, then I'm going to support the committee report. We have plenty of time to take a position on the legislation. It's not going to go all the way through the legislature and hit the governor's desk in the next week and a half.
No, there is no proposal before the legislature on this.
Ah, well, in that case...
This was for us to initiate legislation. We have passed the deadline for that. Our recommendation in any event was not to sponsor legislation, but to direct a study first of all.
That's what I want to
But the
support.
originating proposal was to do so.
Got it. So I'll support the committee.
Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to point out what Mr. Karsh just said. The committee report says that the IGR committee report relative to support for legislation as requested by the police department to authorize cities to impose a surcharge. And it says that they direct the CAO, the CLA, ITA, and LAPD to include, to seek options for a reliable revenue source, including whether to pursue a new surcharge on telephone usage by enabling legislation at the state level. So there's no legislation at the state level yet. We're giving the authority to initiate such legislation. On November 11th, the committee adopted the concept of enabling the city to assess a local 911 surcharge and also to take no action until such time as the PD and ITA have articulated a 911 maintenance and future enhancement program cost and analysis. While the LAPD has apparently completed a 10-year plan for the 911 system, LAPD and ITA have not prepared and submitted the program cost and revenue analysis as requested. So I think a vote at this point on this report to authorize legislation to allow us to do it. There are no other cities involved. This is LA legislation, and I think this is premature. I think it's premature until LAPD and ITA come back with the program cost and revenue analysis as they've been directed by the committee. And I don't think we need to pursue a new surcharge on telephone usage until we're certain of how large it needs to be, what our goal is in getting there, how much money we're trying to raise. And I think then we need to take into very careful attention the people that Mr. Burnson referenced, the seniors among us, people on a fixed income, that the addition of a few more cents on a telephone bill, which they may already be paying only lifeline rates, would be a hardship. There are lots of people, I saw some data not too long ago, that the numbers of people with telephones is declining as a percent of the population from what it was at some past time in our history when we had gotten to a point where almost every home had a telephone. And now that's no longer the case. So I would urge that we not support this report until LAPD and ITA have performed their cost and revenue analyses.
Yes, Mr. Karsh, under the legislation that's being talked about here, would the voters have to vote on that surcharge, or would the city councils be allowed to impose it?
It would be it'd be the latter.
The city, yeah, all right. Here's, why don't you just be honest what's going on? We have a surcharge on phones right now. It's called a utility tax. And everyone in this city pays it, except fortunately, we've got a reduced rate for seniors and disabled and low income. And all you want to do, but if you want to raise the utility tax, you got to go to the voters under 208, 218. But now you want legislation that will allow the city councils to do it without going to the voters, and instead of calling it a utility tax, it'll be called a, quote, surcharge. It is the exact same thing. All this is a way to raise the current utility tax, which is on phones, without having to go to the voter, letting councils do it. That's the bottom line of this whole thing, because if you want to go to the voters, you can increase the utility tax right now. You don't need a, quote, surcharge. There is not an iota difference between raising the utility tax and the surcharge, except semantics, so that you could get around having to go to the voters. And if you'd only be honest about that, we could have the discussion of should the voters or not be the ones that do it. Instead, you're coming up with all this stuff about how you need to keep this system going, when what you really have before us is a subterfuge for 218, and without even the willingness to discuss it. And eventually, people aren't dumb. They know it. They start talking about this, and your credibility goes to hell. If you ever want to get support for these things, you ought to be direct and straightforward to people.
Ms. Misakowski.
I just wanted to respond to Joel. I think that the report, the committee report, indicates that this bill would be consistent with 218 and would need a vote of the people unless there were an exemption. I'm sure, as Mr. Karsh points out in his report, the exemption would not be easy to get and would be strongly lobbied against by all the utility public interest groups, etc. So in fact, it could not and would not likely be allowed to go forward without that exemption, and that is that it would have to come back to a vote of the people. And in fact, let's make sure that is part of it, that as we consider this, that it would be not to be seeking that exemption, but to seek to be consistent with what the voters have enacted under 218. I agree with the other members here that I think it should be studied. I think Ms. Chick's language to make sure that we drop this particular focus, but say explore all other alternatives. This is still an alternative, but we ought to make sure that it not be brought forward with any kind of way of exempting the vote of the people, as would be considered as we explore all the other alternatives.
Holden.
Mr. President, members, I just put the committee's report on the table initially, but now I have to speak to it. There's a service charge for a 411. There's a service charge for an installation of telephones. There's a service charge when you're providing service. There's no doubt about it. Think if you needed an information number and you couldn't dial 411. Think if you needed 911 emergency services and it was not readily available, as some people do complain about the fact they can't get through. Think if there were no 911, and think when there was no 911 and you needed emergency help. You had to dial the direct number to the ambulance service. You had to dial the direct number to the police department, etc. And the response time was a half hour, an hour, much longer than necessary or should have been. And people's lives that were lost could have been saved as they are now with the 911, even with the service not being as great as it should be. The police department is stepping up to the plate saying, we foresee a problem. There's too many calls with 911. We cannot manage those calls. We must begin to plan ahead. Are you going to stop that? I don't think you should. Let them come and say to us that here's what we need to plan for the future in terms of 911. Here's what's going to cost. We cannot impose a surcharge locally. We need legislative authorization to do so, and then you make that decision. But to stay here and I'd like to see somebody die in your district. No, I don't want to see anybody die. But if someone should die and the 911 was not available to them in a timely nature, just think that that is the issue. It's the cost spread out to everybody, a small percent. And seniors are given lower rates. So, hey, let's go with it.
Thank you. I think the worst thing would be if somebody died because we didn't have an updated system. That would be, and we didn't have a way of financing it. Mr. Burnson.
You know, this is some of the same old pablum that you spread out every day when you're looking for money, you know? We don't charge a surcharge for police. We don't charge a surcharge for fire department. We do charge for ambulance charges where we can recover unless there's an economic or age problem on paramedics. But we have the responsibility of providing these public safety features. And what we're really doing is just trying to get more money from the general fund or whatever to pay for these things. And I cannot support this. I'm not going to vote for it now. I'm not going to vote for it ever. I think that we have to, be quiet, would you please? Yeah, well, just be quiet. You're out of order. No, I'm in order. Anyway, the point is...
Shut you off fast.
The point is that it is our responsibility to provide a satisfactory system. We haven't done it, we need to do it, and we don't have to go to the taxpayers and the people that pay their rates for their phone bill in order to do that. It's our responsibility, not theirs.
Mr. Hernandez. That is lovely.
You know, it's amazing how we tend to confuse things in this room. And, you know, how we stand up and we really advocate on behalf of something. I just want to make sure I'm advocating on behalf of the right things according to the committee report. There was statements of a commission forwarding to the committee, basically, or forwarding to the city of recommendations. And in those recommendations, and again, Mr. Burnson, it might help if you listen to part of what I'm saying.
No, Mr. Burnson, always talks, but he wants you to listen.
But says, while the LAPD has apparently completed a 10-year plan for the 911 system, LAPD and ITA have not prepared and submitted the program cost and revenue analysis as requested. Even though this report was provided in November of 1998, the Police Commission again approved and forwarded the legislative position recommendation to the City Council. Now, my understanding is we're sending it back. We're asking for a full report that the CAO is going to review. We're asking for them to basically complete this report also, and then give us recommendations. Now, as part of those recommendations, there might be some legislative information. Is that correct?
Yes, Councilman.
Now, I said as part. So we're not voting on basically getting the legislation passed. I just want to make sure that is understood right now. What we're voting on is for them to further study the issue and report back to us. Is that correct?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I kind of cleared that up. And I know that sometimes information could be dangerous in these chambers, but I think that when we're talking about these kinds of decisions, we want to have information and we want to make sure the voters, as well as constituents who might not be able to vote, have that information. But right now we're operating clearly without a clear understanding of what the program costs and what the future development of this 10-year plan is going to be. And that makes no sense at all. So again, I just wanted to urge us to support the committee recommendations. I think that we got the message very clear as to where people stand on the legislation.
All right. Mr. Fuhrer.
I move the question.
The previous question has been moved. Open the roll on the previous question. Close the roll.
I'm sorry,
All right.
12 ayes, 1 no.
Very good. The previous question has been moved. On the item, open the roll. Close the roll.
Mr. Alatorre,
Yes.
currently before us is amending motion by Chick.
Right, by Ms. Chick. This is Ms. Chick's motion. All right? Now, would you like to repeat the motion? Yes. Can we restate Ms. Chick's motion? The clerk. Excuse me, Mr. Burnson, I just said that they're going to read the motion.
Is it a substitute motion or an amendment?
It's an amendment, Mr. Burnson. If you'd listen, instead of talking, you would know that it's a substitute motion.
say so,
All right? I mean, a amending motion. Ms., could you restate the motion? All right?
The motion has to be repeated by Ms. Chick, please.
That was even better. All right. Ms. Chick.
Okay.
That's what I like.
The whole point of the motion is it instructs our city experts, ITA, CAO, CLA, and LAPD to come back with a report on what their needs are for 911 maintenance and what some suggested ways of meeting those needs are. It deletes all reference to a telephone bill surcharge so that it would read direct LAPD. In other words, the committee report stops at the word system.
Okay. Is the motion clear? Open the roll. Close the roll.
13 ayes.
Motion is adopted. Next item.
Item number 15, called special by Councilmember.
As amended, of course.
Yes, no.
Mr.
Madam Clerk,
Mr. Wax would like to be recorded as no?
Wasn't I pressed no?
The
Point
motion
of
is...
order.
What is your
You said
point?
it was you said it was an amendment,
It was an amendment?
not a substitute motion.
No.
Therefore, the amendment should be voted on, and then the motion should be voted on. No,
That's
he
what we
didn't.
did. But we'll do it for you, Mr. Burnson, that's fine. We'll go back and make Mr. Burnson happy. All right, on the motion as amended. Open the roll, close the roll. Open the roll.
11 ayes, 2 noes.
All right, 11 ayes and 2 noes. Mr. Burnson and Mr. Wax will be recorded as no. All right, motion is adopted. Next item.
Item number 15, called special by Councilmember Hernandez.
All right, Mr. Hernandez.
Members of the council, I just wanted to point out item 15 dealing with our legislative policy regarding homeless. And we're being asked to amend it to basically amend section 7 to read as follows. Support federal efforts to enforce anti-discrimination laws in the citing of housing programs for homeless and special needs population. Then underlined it says, while allowing some local control relative to density and proximity. I wanted to point out that we had a tremendous debate over an action we took regarding federal legislation in which Congresswoman Maxine Waters was asking us why we were trying to undermine a lot of the anti-discrimination laws that were established in this country and why we were dealing with those issues. And I need to remind us that when we talk about local control, the reality is a lot of people don't like certain kinds of projects in their neighborhood. And when we talk about local control, we're not just talking about the city of Los Angeles, but we could also be talking about the city of Glendale, the city of Pasadena, the city of Beverly Hills,
Santa Monica.
City of Santa Monica. And I'm just kind of throwing it out because the legislation would apply to all of us. And from my perspective, I just wanted to get from the CLA's office what the word wild means and what's it really mean, because I think we're kind of putting ourselves in a position where there might be a lot of criticism for us taking this legislative position.
All right?
We made that
Anybody, yes.
Michael Karsh, the CLA's office. We made that
All right, excuse me, Mr. Karch. Look, we're trying to conduct a business. Anybody that needs to talk, if they could talk outside, please. It's out of respect to the CLA and to the rest of the members, we should at least know what we're talking about and what we're voting on. Mr. Karsh.
We made that recommendation because that was a prior position of the council when we were addressing the problem of a lot of the community care facilities. We acknowledged that we did not want to seek an outright veto power of cities over the siting of these facilities within city jurisdictions. A lot of cities do
Mr.
want
Wax.
that. We do not. So what we did was to say perhaps in the areas of density and proximity, that is the over-concentration of these places within a given city, there should be some ratcheting down of the ratio, but never the total exclusion. In addition, there was also council agreement to seek a greater distance between the siting of these facilities and how that distance is measured. We're not putting in here a precise position like we will seek to measure 1,000 feet as the crow flies between facilities. But these were prior council positions of, I believe, 2 years ago. And that's the background of it, sir.
All right. Anybody else want to be heard in this item? What do we have before us?
Item number 15.
All right, open the roll, close the roll.
13 ayes.
All right, that motion is adopted. Next item.
Item number 18, called special.
Mr. President, I wanted to be recorded as a no vote. I was pushing my button for some reason.
You would like to be recorded as a no vote?
Right.
All right? That'll be the order. All right, next item.
Item number 18.
Who called that special? Mr. Burnson, Sacramento has been calling us.
Could we have somebody tell us, give us a brief update on any changes on the revisions in our legislative statement on transportation? Is somebody from DOT, James, can you tell us, what's the deviation, anything here that's different?
I believe, James Ogazaki, Assistant General Manager from LA DOT, I believe all of these are consistent with our previous set of recommendations of last year.
Okay.
Everything is consistent?
Yes. Yes.
Are we seeking, what are maybe our 2 or 3 principal pieces of legislation that we are seeking?
There's one issue that recently came up at the MTA, and we want to make sure that we're clear. We took a council action on it, actually.
Was that the the 405 and the 101?
No, that's
interchange?
not it, although that's an important issue. This deals with the MTA's consideration of changing the debits and credits for the congestion management program. We would like to, at this time, still maintain the credits and debits. We worked very hard to have that.
I'm sure
so we took action on it, and we're pushing that to be one of the important issues.
Have we
with
taken
MTA.
any position on the 405-101 interchange?
Not since the council action we took. We're not taking any political...
The council action we took a council action.
Yes.
Have we included that in our legislative policy?
We did not.
Why not?
Well, because we didn't.
I'm asking Mr. Kawasaki.
We did not, because we thought we had already adequately addressed that issue as a specific project, rather than a general policy
But
statement.
there was legislation currently in Sacramento that was sponsored by one of the state legislators.
That is correct.
Are we supporting that or not?
Yes, we are, and we're also...
And we've gone on record as supporting that.
Yes, we have, and we're
Okay.
also supporting the continuing studies that are being conducted, including a study that's being
Right.
funded by the T21.
Yeah, also the
federal
study
level.
by SCAG that dealing with
That
the
is
101
correct, that is
extension, right?
correct, and we're involved with that.
Okay, I just
Right.
want to make sure those things are
Very good.
included, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Burnson, for bringing it
Get
to
him
our
out of there, will you,
attention.
John?
Ms. Goldberg.
Thank you. Yes, I just had a couple of questions also. Do we, anywhere in this policy, urge the federal government to reinstate operational subsidies for bus transit operations?
No, we do not.
Well, I'd like to move an amendment to do that. To urge the federal government to reinstate operational subsidies for bus transit operations. One of the reasons we are constantly told we can't improve buses is that the subsidies were taken out to support rail only, and I think we need to have that in our policy. Second question I have is do we anywhere say that the first priority of public transportation shall be to provide reliable, safe, and affordable transportation for the transit dependent? Do
No.
we say that?
No, we do not say
Well, I'd
that.
like to move that as an amendment also to our policy, if I could get a second. Thank you. The third question I have is do we urge MTA to fund bike and pedestrian improvements at levels proportional to the Federal Transportation Bill, TEA 21? The reason I ask this question is because there was a motion by Councilmember Wax, I think it was adopted January the 15th to that effect, but I didn't see it reflected in our policy, and I thought it should be. If not, I'll just move that Mr. Wax's motion, which I have a copy of here somewhere, here it is, be adopted as part of our, it was adopted
Mr.
January
Okazaki.
the 15th, 1999.
I do have a clarification. We do have a position supporting legislation to accommodate for the elderly, the people with disability, to including but not limited to the poverty, population density, and so forth. So specifically speaking, the question about do we have a policy statement regarding the transportation for the transit dependent, I think we do.
Well, I think there are transit dependent that aren't in those categories.
Okay.
Or people just don't have enough money to buy a car.
All right.
That aren't infirm, elderly, or anything else. So I would move those 3 amendments.
All right, there's a second. All right? Anybody else? Ms. Goldberg, anybody else want to be heard in this item? All right? The motion as amended. Open the roll. Close the roll.
13 ayes.
All right? Motion as amended will be deemed adopted. Next item.
Item number 24.
All right? There's a card. All right? Mr. Shapiro, on item 24.
I'm asking for some hearings on city services, including...
Council, Mr. Alatorre, acting president. I don't know how you circumvented Wax and Galante to get up there, but I guess you did.
You know, what the heck. Age, that's what it is.
Item 24 concerns a request from the LA Housing Department to get financial advisors, underwriters, trustees, auditors, masters for master services, and mortgage credit certificate administrators. This is to help them spend the money that comes into the department for housing, the small mortgages, the small bond issues, and the big bond issues. And if you ever checked into these costs that these people are going to generate, you'll see why it's necessary to have an RFQ to get them to vote and to bid on and let you know what you're going to do. It seems funny that a department as big as the housing department doesn't have some in-house employees that can do some of this work. After all, it isn't that difficult to learn how to be a financial advisor, how to handle master services and check the audit reports and so forth. Underwriting, all right, that you have to have a hookup with some kind of national outfit. But outside of that, you can see why 50,000 here, 100,000 there, 200,000 there, all of a sudden the cost for any small mortgage or any small bond issue becomes exceedingly high. In here, there's no request being made for people to fill out, to find out how the pay-as-you-go plan can possibly work. Maybe the financial advisors will do that, but I doubt it greatly, because the financial advisors are too used to requesting that you set up bond issues and you pay the extra money that you need for all these bond issues. I think this also may be a response to the audit that was turned in November about the fact that the LAPD, in spending their $230 million that was appropriated on the North Hollywood Police Station and the 77th Street Police Station, found out they didn't have any experts to advise the architects to draw the correct plans. The net effect is
thank you.
That too much. You don't like to hear about this. I don't blame you. That audit was sent to you,
I don't know
and
who heard
that audit on the police department is the definite reason why they have to request all these experts. But I think it's time somebody got some in-house experts that realize the value of a buck.
Thank
Mr.
you
President.
very much. Okay, we have item 24. Is there any discussion on that? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 4, left on the desk, is an ordinance.
Yeah, the item 4 is the ordinance that we held on the desk. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll on the item number 4 ordinance, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
We have special 1.
You got 29.
We're going to go in closed session, perhaps, about maybe doing this.
Okay. Special run. We have findings on special 1.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. On February 18th, a 12-year-old girl was sexually accosted in a park restroom in the Valley. Another attempted attack a few miles away occurred a few days later. and the police believe it is the same attacker. They are asking for this reward in order that the community can come forward and this man will be captured before he attacks again. Therefore, the council needs to make the findings that there's an immediate need to act, and the need to act arose after the posting of the agenda.
Okay, prepare the roll on the
Move
findings.
yeah.
Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have the matter before us. Mr. Wax?
Just, Mr. President, some people have asked, normally we would wait a while for a reward until all the sources of tips dry up. But this is a particularly unusual situation because of the high likelihood that the same person is going to strike again. It seems pretty obvious now that it was the same person that struck at least a second time, and we got a real sicko out there who is preying on the neighborhood, and it's only a matter of time until he preys again, until we see this repeated, unless we capture him. It was a horrible situation. I mean, as you know, it's just sort of every person's nightmare to see an innocent 12-year-old girl raped at gunpoint in the bathroom of a public park. He then tried to abduct a second young girl, an 11-year-old girl, the next day. And there's all likelihood that he is going to strike again unless he's caught. There's been a fantastic outpouring of support from the community, not only in educating their children and their families on safety measures, but on working closely and cooperatively with the police on trying to capture this person. And we feel that the offering of a reward at this time will go a long way in helping to bring forward tips that will lead to his apprehension.
Mr. Ridley Thomas?
Mr. President, this is wholly appropriate, and I want to say, Mr. Wax, the instance in which we were involved in the 8th Council District where there was a serial rapist who was stalking children at schools, it did take the efforts of the police department and the incentives related to rewards and a concentrated focus on the part of the community. And let me just say to you that it was a young child and her father who were walking to school that identified a car that looked suspicious, and that resulted in that serial rapist being apprehended and brought to justice. So the community can play a very, very substantial role, and it's usually as a result of people being on their P's and Q's, as it were, that the police are substantially aided, and we get these well, I'll restrain myself as it relates to what I should say about such a person, off the streets. And so this is a broad appeal to everyone. We shouldn't have children at risk in this way, and we can help get it done.
Prepare the roll on item special 1.
Yeah.
Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Okay, the next item.
Item number 29.
Item 29 is the charter, and it's a public hearing item, so we'll call on Mr. Then we're going to take that in executive closed session. But Leonard Shapiro wants to talk on the charter.
On, testing. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate you giving me 3 minutes more to speak on the charter reform, because I've been trying to get a half an hour before both charter reform commissions for the past 2 years, and they won't have it. They brag about all the public input that they have. They had 700 people who spoke for 3 minutes before them, and they expect that these people
Mr. Shapiro, talk on
I am talking about the Charter Reform Commission that you have appointed here. Now, right now, they're in a rush to get it to the vote on the June ballot. And all people who predict what the turnout will be on the June ballot predict that approximately 10% of the potential electorate will be out there and voting, indicating that the Charter Reform Commissions and the City Council itself understand full well that instead of involving everybody, they're involving a small minority of people into something that's going to be the guiding document of the city for years to come. You're hoping it'll last at least 70 years like the other one did. Now, some of the issues that need a lot more discussion are the issues of whether you're going to have 15 council members or whether you're going to increase it to 21 or to 25. And what is going to be the pay of the people who are involved? What is going to be the pay of each department? This has never been discussed by any charter reform commission, and it hasn't been discussed by the city council. And it's an item that the electorate will discuss, even the 10% that show out. The mayor is always complaining that he wants a strong mayor system, and that a lot of these items are dedicated towards giving him this extra power. But even though a record shows that he has all the power that he needs, he has never had any request to fire any department head turned down by the city council or by anybody. He just never made the request. If he wants the right to do it without city council approval, or without restricted city council approval, which is put into the charter amendments that you have before you, then he's barking up the wrong tree. The mayor is also fighting about the date, the effective date, and I think that's a non-issue. I think what's happening in here is that the people are vitally concerned with who's going to run the city. Now, we know that the city council proposed and had adopted by the people Prop 5. And yet this new charter amendment is circumventing 5. It's amending Prop 5 so you don't have the power that you had before. That you can do it only in certain conditions and in a certain way after he does what he's figuring to do. The point is Prop 5 was voted on by the people and should stand on. And the Charter Reform Commission doesn't have to fool around with it, and it shouldn't be in the new charter except as an amendment. I think the civil service points in here where you're exempting more and more people from city service is reverting back to the old days, way back in 1920s.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro.
When you didn't have any civil service at all.
Mr. Shapiro, thank you. And
I thank you, Mr. President. I thank you for taking care of the chair.
Okay, the public hearing is closed continued until the next meeting on the charter, but we will keep the charter on the desk because we're going to executive session. Next item.
Public comments.
Public comment. Okay, we have Elizabeth Hatter.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sure you're all tired of seeing me down here all the time. I take notes and I find I don't even refer to them. First of all, I am begging, I am seeking a decent service-related pension. I am sick, I am ill. Do not let appearances fool you. I can bring up here a dolly cart full of medical reports, and they're not good, and they're not going to get better. I served this city for 16 years, and I'm sorry, I just repeat myself. Please help me. I cannot go on like this. I cannot panhandle for food at night. I can't beg people for money. I can't be worried about being evicted from the small place I'm in now. Please help me. I'm going downhill. You might not think it. Please listen to me. Please help me. I deserve a decent, livable, service-related pension. Number 2, I challenge Captain Lee Carter to come down here today to explain why I had a 4-hour-long taped internal affairs investigation laying out felonies and, at the very least, egregious administrative faults that Captain Carter had let happen. That was the complaint that came back. I think Ms. Goldberg remembers. The only thing gleaned out of a 4-hour internal affairs report when I was laying out sexual battery, false imprisonment, failure to back up, death threats, exponential. Why? Somebody here tell me why on the last page, the one, or Ms. Goldberg, somebody tell me why the only thing investigated was Hey Babe. I called Captain Carter yesterday. He said, I have no idea who you are. Click. I called him back. He hung up on me again. I think this is misconduct. in the most egregious form. I'm talking death threats, shoving the shotguns with paper so they would blow up if you needed to use it, failure to get back up in the field. I went through this for 12 of my 16 years. Please, there needs to be an investigation into the misconduct that Internal Affairs, the mockery they made out of my terror. I don't know who's listening to me. I know you are.
Okay.
This is not you don't understand what this does to somebody with a lot of pride and who is a very outstanding officer. You go up at Ralph's to Panhandle tonight for your money. You lose everything you've ever worked for. And again, I want an investigation. I'm begging this council into the actions of Internal Affairs under the watch of Captain Lee Carter. This was from February 96 to April of 96, and he flat out denies it. He put me off to Captain McMurray, put me off to Merritt. I said, no, Carter, it was on your watch.
Okay.
No, that's serious misconduct when you've got people ignoring felonies that I'm laying out here.
All right, thank you, Ms. All right, Peter Verdeck. Thank you.
I am sick. Can somebody please help me? Do you know what it takes to take
Please.
5 minutes to button a shirt?
Okay, please
Do you want
be
to see the
seated.
stitches in my head that
Please
I
be
felt because
seated.
I'm so medicated?
I'm not a doctor, so don't show me your stitches, please. You going to speak or not?
Yes, my name is Peter Verkaik, and I live in a mobile home park in Eagle Rock. I have two checks, one from 1968, that was $195 a month rent. Now it is $405. And the increase is between 5 and 8% every year. I have to pay 3% increase for the property and 2% increase for utilities. That is not 5%. But even if it is 5%, I've been charged more than is regulated. And I want to find out what can be done about it. It is mathematically a mistake to charge 2% for utilities. I can do nothing about the 3% for property, but I don't want to pay more than 2%, no more than the use of the electricity that is being used in the mobile home park. Furthermore, I have a list over here where what my rent is supposed to be over a period of 10 years. I paid $195 times accumulated 5% over a period of 10 years. It is 1.62.
Okay, thank you. We have other people who want to be heard. Thank you.
Can I get this on the agenda where the rent is being controlled on a different system, because it is mathematically a disaster, for not only for me, but for a whole bunch of people that are retired and can't afford the 5% increase in a year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but,
Ghebreyesus.
okay, whatever you say.
Mr. President and the council members, my name is Milian Ghebreyesus. February 18, 1999, I spoke in front of you regarding Yellow Cab Company. My case dragging up to now based on the fact I'm the victim of Yellow Cab Company since February 14, 1997. Why, when I am complaining and explain to the city, I'm not getting some kind of help regarding my economic crisis from the city council? I need emergency help now before I become homeless, including my son, March 3, 99. The councilman, you have a power, and I'm learning the Constitution of the United States. No answer, no resolution. I'm a single man, and I won't expect your answer for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro.
Mr. President and council members, my name is Leonard Shapiro. I am a writer for the LA Watts Times. I'm also a writer for the Toluca Times. I have been a former writer.
No commercials, please.
Well, there's a reason for this, Mr. President, and it applies to you. I have been certified with press credentials by the papers and by police agencies of the state. And yet each time when I come here and I demand or request the right to be treated as any other member of the press, I am denied that right. You give the press free rooms, free utilities, free electricity. You give them the right to go inside the ropes and to talk to you. And yet, even though I am a fully accredited member of the press, you have determined that your officials shall not let me. Why do you determine this member of the press is okay and this member of the press is not okay? I think you have a right to have one standard, and we are a government of laws and not men. And if you set up your ordinances and your rules to apply to people of the press, what right have you got to have some people inside there and I got to stay outside here? I don't mind this because I've been doing it for well over 10 to 15 years, but I just want to bring it up to your attention so that you know that your rules are being enforced very selectively, and it's not right. And inside in your own rules, either take away all the privileges that you've given all other members of the press, or allow me as a member of the accredited press to participate in the same thing, Mr. President.
Okay, that's all the cards we have, so the public comment period is closed. Next item.
Item 29, executive session.
Okay, let's clear the desk, and we're going to go into executive session, so please, all those not involved with the executive session, please leave the council chamber. IGR. He's big on IGR. Okay, we're back in open session. See, Nate's fighting for it now. What's on the agenda?
Council members' request for excuse from attendance at council meeting. Councilmember Wax requests to leave at 11:15 on Wednesday, February 24th.
Okay, unanimous vote.
Councilmember Ridley Thomas requests to be excused for city business on February 26th to leave at 11:30.
Oh, dear. The 26th. Yeah, unanimous vote.
And Councilmember Burnson, request absence on Friday, February 26th, meets policy city business.
Mr. Burnson, we're having a charter on 26th. Unanimous vote. Yeah. Okay. What else?
The desk is clear.
There's nothing like cooperation from council members when we have something as important as a council, as a charter. So
Ferrari, you're
we have
right.
some adjourning motions. Would everyone please stand?
You're right, Mr. Ferrari.
Yeah. Would
That's
everyone
why I'm
please
gonna stay
stand?
here with you.
Members of the council, I ask we adjourn in memory of George Bozanic, who was a captain of the USC football team in the Rose Bowl game of 1953. He passed away, and he leaves his wife Lynn, son Robert, and 2 daughters. And I'd also ask that we adjourn in memory of Antelope Al Kruger, who passed away. For those of you who do not follow it, Al Kruger was a substitute end that went into the game against Duke, who was undefeated, unscored upon, untied, and they were leading 3-0 late in the game, and Doyle Nave was sent in, and he threw 4 straight passes with a 19-yard touchdown play that won the game for USC. Defeated Duke in 1939 Rose Bowl. Duke was undefeated, untied, and unscored upon all year.
Whoa.
Any?
And he was the substitute.
He was from, they call him Antelope Al Kruger because he's from Lancaster.
But he was a substitute.
He was a substitute, yes.
Regular's good.
Mr. Wax?
Yes, I'd like the council to adjourn in the memory of Larry Frumkin, who's the son of Cy Frumkin that many of us know, and I'll give the clerk the pertinent information.
I want to join you in that also, Joel. I want to be a co-sponsor.
Me too.
Any others? Call the roll.
Mr. Burns, Walters, and Mr. Ferrari.
All right, the council is adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.